Oh, hello. I'm here to explain my drawing process. Finally, featuring bread from Wuthering Waves. Gosh, that's hard to say. To be honest, the only reason I even started playing this game in the first place is because of him, so... I mean, look at him.
Righto.
You know?
I know.
Spin to win. Those who have known me for a long time know that I'm very weak for fictional pirate aesthetics. There's a reason why Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my favorite movies of all time. When I was drawing this, I figured this might as well be the video where I explain my process, so it turned out that way. But please, bear with me as I am not great at explaining things, especially when it's not in my first language. So, this won't be super educational. I'm just gonna ramble, trying my best to explain. Alright, let's go. Now, if I were to explain my art process in a simplified manner, it will be in these 7 steps. Number 1, a general movement sketch to get a feel of the flow of it all and where things should be. Which in this one, I barely did anything because, I was on a roll and blinded by hyperfixation. Then number 2, the actual sketch. Number 3, line art. Sometimes I need an additional sketch here before the line art. It really depends on how confident I'm feeling and if it's a good or bad drawing day, which I know some people can relate. Some days you just can't draw to save your life. But it's okay. This time it was actually a good drawing day, so it's okay. Number 4, base color, or flats as some call it. Number 5, I put in the shadows and color variation and determine where the light source is. It doesn't need to be clean, it can stay messy, it's okay. Because I will fix it all in the next step, which is number 6, rendering. I will talk about that more later. Number 7, and the final step, is finishing touches. Now, to go more in depth, when it comes to sketching, line art, and base color, it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really need to explain much. I don't use many layers for the first 2, but with the base colors, I like to split them up to make it easier for myself when I put down the shadows later. Keep them separate, just in case I make mistakes. And I don't want to paint over other parts of the drawing, so it's a good thing. Like this. I also like to keep all my color layers in a folder since it can become quite a lot, as you will see. Then for the shadows, I first determine where the light source is, like I said, which in this piece is coming from the top right, and then I just go from there. I make a new clipping layer and turn it into multiply. That way, you can use the same color as the base color layer and use it as shading. Sometimes this isn't enough, and it can turn out too dark or too dull, which in that case, I try either different colors or saturations. For me, I just go with whatever I think looks nice, to be honest. I usually don't set the rules for myself, so yeah. Then I just start the shading process. Like I said earlier, it can be messy. It's okay, I'll fix it later. This is not procrastination, I promise. I will actually fix it later. This is just for me to see where it all is, so I can blend and sculpt it all together later in the rendering phase. Then, once I'm satisfied with where I put down all the colors and shading, I add a new layer above the coloring folder and the line art layers, and start the rendering process. Oh, but first, I always make sure to color the line art. It makes it easier to blend and render later, at least in my opinion. If you have a bunch of black lines, it can ruin the process. The way I would describe my way of rendering would be more like sculpting, I guess. I recently put it all together. I clean all the shapes and shadows and then build on top of it as I go. When it comes to rendering, I like to stick to either 1 or 2 layers. Because, like I said, I'm building on top of it all, painting over almost all of it. Taking the hair as an example, I like to focus on one part at a time, otherwise I will get overwhelmed. It can be a lot. I usually start with the bangs, using where I messily put down the shadows earlier as a guide to sculpt the different hair clumps into place. And yes, hair clumps, not strands. Drawing individual strands can make it look messy and overdone, at least in my opinion. So I tend to think of the hair as a bunch of ribbons and section them accordingly. It's easier to shade that way and easier to render, and it looks better in my opinion. Then once I feel like I'm finished, I like to add an additional big shadow. I don't know how else to explain it, but here. I merge all the layers, line art, rendering layers, and color folder together into one big layer, and then I make a copy of it. This is just a personal thing, but after I've copied it, I like to unmerge everything back, and then paste the copied image above everything on a new layer. That way, I still have all the layers by themselves, just in case I'm unhappy with something, or want to change or add something later. Basically, if I make a mistake, or I want to change something, I have all the original layers saved, so I can just make changes there, and then merge everything together again later. But I turn all of these old layers invisible, and paste a copy of the fully merged drawing, so I have now 2 of the same. I lock the one on top, and I fill it with a solid color I want the shadow to be. Then I turn it into a multiply layer and lower the opacity, and voila! Big shadow! After that, I cut out where the light hits the surfaces and then smooth out the edges. As for the finishing touches, unfortunately, my OBS decided to crop the recording, so I can't show you. Because I am a dum-dum and forgot to clean my computer, so I didn't have enough storage. That's my fault. Anyway, I can explain it at least to you. Show pictures and stuff, I guess. I will figure something out in editing. Don't worry. I like to play around with the color burn layer to make certain colors more intense. I also like to use an overlay layer for subsurface scattering, I think it's called. If not, maybe another artist can correct me, but this thing. Right here. Hopefully I'm showing it. And then I also like to use a linear light layer for more ambient colors and atmospheric something. Yeah, I'm bad at explaining, I'm sorry. I made it a habit of also messing around with the tone curve in color correction to balance the shadows and highlights better. After that, I'm almost done. Something I like to do is add white outlines to some parts of the drawing. Don't ask me why, I just think it looks good. With my style, I just think it brings it all together somehow. Don't worry about it. And then I'm done! Woohoo! By the way, the VOD of me rendering this piece should still be up, so if you're curious and want to watch in more detail, you can find it right here. And this other video, YouTube thinks you'll like, so it will be right here. Bye bye now!